Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're talking about how to master for streaming. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Loudness normalization. When mastering for a streaming service, loudness normalization is an important topic, since it'll cause the amplitude of your track to potentially be altered during playback. Most services utilize downward normalization, meaning your track is turned down if it goes above a predetermined LUFS. I'll create a -14 LUFS signal and a -8 LUFS signal. Then I'll use -6 dB of clip gain on the louder track to match them and simulate normalization. Let's see if we can hear a difference between the two.
Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside.
Apple, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, and more. Different streaming services like Apple, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, and others normalize audio to different LUFS settings and may utilize upward and downward normalization or just downward. For example, YouTube only uses downward normalization and will only turn audio down if it's too loud, not up if it's too quiet. Just about all of these normalize to -14 LUFS. Let's take a listen to a signal pre- and post-normalization.
Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside.
How encoding affects volume. Another thing to consider is how encoding, or the translation of a lossless file to a lossy file, changes the amplitude. When the resolution gets reduced, so too does the accuracy of the amplitude, causing clipping distortion. To avoid this, it's recommended you set your ceiling to -2 dB true peak. I'll simulate how a track would clip after encoding so you can hear the effects.
Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside.
Oversampling. When you're trying to avoid clipping distortion after encoding, like when mastering for streaming, oversampling can be helpful since it's going to reduce the amount of clipping distortion. To avoid clipping distortion post-encoding, I'd recommend lowering the ceiling of the limiter using a little bit of look ahead and 4x or more oversampling. Let's listen to a pre- and post-oversampled signal to see if we notice a difference.
Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside.
True peak metering versus true peak limiting. Although you may be using a true peak meter to measure the level of your signal, this is different than true peak limiting. True peak limiting utilizes true peak metering to determine where clipping would occur, but then compensates for those peaks, sometimes to the detriment of your transients. With that in mind, it might be better to simply lower your limiter's ceiling and use oversampling instead. Let's compare the two.
Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, alright, make up for the last time, head high, looking from the top down, eyes wide, open from the inside.
The issue with dynamics. Although more dynamic is typically thought of as better, when the audio is normalized, this can become an issue. For example, if the LUFS is -18 and you have a -2 dB peak, your signal will be increased by about 4 dB, causing the streaming service to utilize a limiter. This situation isn't ideal since you can't control how that limiter is going to affect your signal. Let's take a listen to a track with these levels for reference.
Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside.
Target loudness. Many engineers ask, why go above -14 LUFS if it's just going to be normalized? There are a lot of answers to this, but in short, you never know when normalization settings will change. The timbre of a louder master is different and can be beneficial, and some listeners turn normalization off. Furthermore, some services don't normalize, so you'll need to keep this in mind. With all of this in mind, let's listen again to -14 LUFS and the normalized -8 LUFS master to see if we can hear the difference in their timbres.
Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside.
Target loudness limiters. Although target loudnesses should typically be avoided, some limiters have target loudness functions, which can be convenient if you want to preview how that loudness will sound. Isotopes Maximizer and TC Electronics Brick Wall Limiter are examples of these, but more will probably be released in the near future. Let's listen to the signal being normalized by TC Electronics Brick Wall Limiter.
Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside.
Upward compression and normalization. If you want your master to sound aggressive like a loud master, but you don't want normalization to affect your peaks, utilize low-level compression. This will increase the detail of your track from the bottom up, leaving your peaks alone, and somewhat negating the need to master loudly. Let's listen to a master with low-level compression at -14 LUFS and one without low-level compression, also at -14 LUFS.
Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside. Fine, fine, alright. Make up for the last time. Head high, looking from the top down. Eyes wide, open from the inside.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Also, subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching.